ARTMAN, Caricatures Part 3. A mere mortal like you can't wield the power of the Infinity Gauntlet.
It belongs in a museum.
Give me the gauntlet now, Dr. Jones.
I'll never give you the gauntlet, Thanos.
Well, if you won't give it to me, my army of Goombas is gonna take it from you.
Oh yeah? Well, my army of aliens is gonna fight your Goombas.
ARTMAN! ARTMAN! ARTMAN!
Oh. Hi, Saku.
What are you doing?
I've just been drawing, working on my caricature.
What are all the toys for then?
The toys, I was using that as a reference because I'm about to draw the body for my caricature. So that's what the toys are about. So, yeah. Sorry. So I'm beginning my final drawing, and the first thing I did was I redrew my favorite sketch. Now, sometimes as you're redrawing your favorite sketch, you might want to take things that you learned from your other sketches and add them in. With this, you'll notice it's cleaner than my sketch. I'm mostly working off of this one right here. And you'll notice there's no shading. I'm going to color this picture, so I don't want to put any shading in. Also, you'll notice I haven't put any lines here to represent the nose. It's almost just like the tip of the nose and the nostrils are just kind of floating there. I'm going to use color to define that. I'm not going to use line work for that. I tried to stick with the line work just for edges and creases and things like that. So now I'm ready to add the body. And to do that, you want to find a good reference. One that you think is true to who your character is, whoever this celebrity is. What are they famous for? Now I'm doing a caricature, almost more of a character than the celebrity. And so I wanted to capture what Indiana Jones is all about, and that's finding artifacts and going on adventures and stuff like that. So I'm actually, I know it seemed like it was just a joke, but I'm actually going to be using an action figure for a reference. You see I took a photo right here to work from. The thing is, when you do that, you don't want to have the joints of the action figure showing. So you might want to have a realistic reference as a backup, just to help you with color and shading and things like that. Okay? I don't really expect all of you guys to have as many action figures as I do. So, moving on, I'm going to put this body on there, and I'm going to have my caricature look very much like a traditional caricature you might see at a theme park, where it's the big head with the tiny little body. To do that, I'm going to block in the body as basic shapes before I start putting in the details, okay? That way, if I don't like it, since I do like how the face turned out, if I don't like how the body turned out, I can easily erase it, and I haven't used that much time. So I'm going to use that basic body structure. I'm going to put the torso right underneath his head. If you want, maybe sometimes you can move it over and put a little bit of a neck in there. Actually, I might do that. I like that idea better now. Okay, again, that's why you sketch this all out real quickly first. I've gone and drawn the full body. You can choose to just draw just the torso And I'd like at least one hand in the picture. To me, adding a hand, whether it's a character dribbling a basketball or waving, adding a hand to your picture really allows it to have a bit of life to it, and it gives them a chance to hold an accessory of some sort. From there, once I've blocked in that body using the basic forms, basic shapes, I'm going to kind of erase back some of those lines and start putting in the details. And again, I might use a little bit of my photo reference of the action figure and a little bit of my photo reference of the image from the movie, photo still from the movie. Once you finish drawing the body, it's time to color. So the same goes true with color. You want to find a good reference. Now sometimes you have a reference where the shadows are really good and nice and they match the body reference, but then the problem is something about the color feels a little bit off. So sometimes I need to find two references. One that's going to be a reference for the placement of shadows and highlights, and then the other one for actual color. I'm going to primarily use this reference right here as a guide. Now, some things you should pay attention to when you start coloring your reference. Really look for where the light is. In this case, he's got at least two light sources shining on his face, causing light on the left and right side of his face here. Some people like to literally trace the highlight and shadow shapes on their photo reference so that while they're coloring, they can keep track of where those shapes belong. But because we're doing a caricature, you have to remember to stretch those shapes out to match how you stretch the face out in your drawing. And what I do is I go after the darkest areas of the face first. That's what I start to color. So what I've done is I've gathered up several colors for Indiana Jones here. I've got light peach, peach, burnt ochre, sienna brown, dark brown, and black. And the final color actually is white. Now I'm going to go over in a little bit what you do. He's a Caucasian male. What you do with people of other ethnicities. So I'm going to start in with the sienna brown actually. I'm going to put this in all the darkest places that I see on his face, but I'm going to put it in there lightly. And what that's going to allow, it's going to allow me to use the lighter colors as a blender. So where the shadows are darkest, I'm pressing down harder with the sienna brown. And then as I'm mixing the peach over top, I'm pressing down hard in the darkest areas again, but I'm being sure to leave white spaces. Those are going to be the highlights. No matter what race your character is, you must leave white spaces. And actually, after that, I add the peach, and then I like to give it a little bit warmth by adding a cream color. And finally, at the end, I'll add the stubble, the beard, and any black line work that I want to add. Now, naturally, Beyonce has darker skin, so I'm going to use a darker color set. I'm still using the sienna brown for the darkest areas of the shadows, but instead of using peach, I'm now using a goldenrod color to lay in the middle tone of her face. And I am returning to that cream color. Now, as you look at this reference of Michael Jordan, you can see what I was talking about with the white areas on the face. Those you have to avoid as you're shading. I start with a dark brown, lay that in all the darkest areas, varying my pressure. Then I layer the sienna brown over top, again leaving white spaces for those highlights. And I add a little bit of peach and a little bit of that goldenrod color to fill in the lighter areas before adding black details at the very end. When you're done coloring the faces, you just move on to coloring the bodies, making sure you still use shadows and highlights like you did for the face. If you do not have color pencils available or coloring supplies available, you can do this in black and white, but you might want to lower the darkness a little bit so that the whole face isn't covered with gray, so you have more white highlight spaces. And that's it. I can't wait to see the finished product.
Yeah, me neither. They're gonna rock.
They are gonna rock. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.